From celebrating diverse voices in science to creating equitable pathways for the next generation, inclusivity is key to driving discovery and innovation. Here in Washington, D.C., the American Geophysical Union is bringing together scientists, advocates, and thought leaders to explore the future of diversity, equity, and inclusion in the geosciences. This is AGU 24, and you're watching AGU TV. Welcome back to AGU 24. I'm your host, Rachel Phillips, and today we're focusing on the vital role inclusivity plays in shaping the future of science. Through powerful conversations and inspiring highlights, we'll explore how AGU is fostering a more diverse and accessible scientific community. From celebrating milestones in equity to addressing the challenges ahead, AGU 24 is showcasing how inclusivity is transforming the Earth and space sciences. And here at AGU TV, we're uncovering what's next for inclusive science. Today, we focus on inclusivity and its transformative impact on the scientific community. Inclusive science drives innovation by fostering diverse perspectives and creating equitable pathways for collaboration and discovery. We'll speak with Reverend Dr. Jessica Moorman on her insights on the intersection of science, faith, and inclusivity, as well as the role of interdisciplinary approaches in fostering climate advocacy and diversity in science.
What social science tells us is that you've got to make it personal, local, and the urgency of now.
Deja Elam from Howard University brings a unique perspective to the intersection of environmental science, advocacy, and inclusivity.
I love this program because it has helped me get more in contact with more of a community of people that's trying to do the same thing and really of different backgrounds, so we can kind of bounce ideas and support off of each other.
And later, we'll take a tour of the AGU 24 exhibit hall and find out what's hot in geoscience. You can catch the latest episode of AGU TV at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, in your hotel room at the Marriott Marquis DC on Channel 42, on the AGU 24 meeting website, on the AGU 24 mobile app, and of course on all our social media platforms. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of our geophysical content. I am joined by Dr. Raina Fine, Professor Emerita of Ocean Sciences at the University of Miami. Dr. Fine has attended 52 consecutive AGU meetings and is here to share the impact AGU has on its members' lives. Dr. Fine, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for interviewing me.
Of course.
So I got my PhD in 1975, and as a woman in ocean sciences in 1975, I was totally isolated, and I had zero confidence in what I was doing, why I was a scientist. It was just all, I was there.
Yeah.
Okay. A few years after getting my PhD, I landed a job at the National Science Foundation in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
And when I got that job, I was one of 5 women in the United States at a research university doing work on the physics of the ocean. 1 of 5.
Wow, that's incredible.
So that experience at the National Science Foundation just changed my life. It was so enriching. So AGU Advance is one of our great journals, published an article in 2021 showing some of the statistics for women in the geosciences. Overall, we hold 27% of the faculty positions, almost half at the assistant level.
Wow.
But less than 20% at the full professor level.
So we're losing them?
We're losing them big time. Still, to this day, it's pathetic. Okay, more pathetic is the fact that less than 1% of the women geoscientists today are of color. Whoa. So in my experience, the National Science Foundation, AGU, UCAR, and several other organizations have been working diligently to try to do something. First of all, they've been tremendously encouraging for women in science, and they've done, trying to do things for women of underrepresented groups and of color. But it's just a humongous challenge. I've held many volunteer positions. Many rewarding volunteer positions. I've been on the board, I've been on the council twice, once as president of Ocean Sciences section. I founded the College of Fellows. And the experiences not only of being as part of AGU, but working in DC, at the National Science Foundation and with other organizations have helped to show me where my science fit into the whole bigger picture of the geosciences, climate change, etc. That was something that as a young PhD I desperately needed. I understood the nitty-gritty, but the big picture, nah, nowhere. But what I wanted to conclude with is that just hiring one underrepresented person or one woman doesn't do it. You need to feel part of a cohort, of a community. And however it gets done, I think that that's one of the important lessons of my career over the years. So thank you, AGU. It's been a great ride.
Wow, that is an incredible story. I think your journey with AGU is just incredible to hear how many years you've been a part of this and you've seen how much it's grown and how much it's helped you and others grow. So thank you so much for sharing this important message.
You're welcome.
Everyone can do science. I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm a Latina, and I'm a proud scientist.
The Office of the Chief Science Data Officer, we're working to enable the use of our open science data and information and to develop a culture around open science. We have two kind of categories of AI tools that we've been developing. The first are foundation models. Foundation models are powerful artificial intelligence models that allow you to develop insights from data without needing trained labeled data. We're also developing what's called a large language model for science. The potential to really both expand our scientific understanding of things along with improving life through societal and economic benefits is really exciting to me.
We're gonna have faster science. We're gonna accelerate the way that we find solutions.
The Student and Early Career Networking session at AGU 24 is where connections were made and opportunities took flight, bringing together the next generation of scientists. We spoke to students to hear how AGU is advancing their career.
Undergrad, I'm studying environmental science, and I'm also doing a certificate in GIS.
Yeah, I feel like AGU has given me amazing networking opportunities. I've met so many people in this organization, and it gives me a chance to talk with other people in my field about my research.
There is a lot of networking. I have met lots of people here. I also present my research, which has made me to be known. So I really look forward to AGU every year.
I really want to network. I want to meet people who are interested in the work I'm interested in and learn from them. also kind of get their input into my work, because I feel like obviously I get to sit with the experts that I interact with, but I also want to sit and kind of get input from people that I don't interact with.
This is my first AGU, and I'm really excited to honestly interact with some of the people whose papers I've been reading over these past 2 years and see what research is happening outside of the broader field that maybe I'm familiar with. So I'm just kind of excited to get a lay of the land that is happening here.
Survey works with the partnership of NASA and US Agency for International Development with the mission to connect space to village. And this mission addresses the climate-related issues on the ground with locally led solutions.
Rice is the staple food and primary crop in Nepal that is supporting to millions of farmers' livelihood. And mapping of that staple crop and primary crop of Nepal is very much important, as it provides better estimates of rice production that helps in ensuring the food security as well.
We see the future where satellite data is turned into action-oriented insights to help our decision makers to solve their climate issues.
I am joined by Reverend Dr. Jessica Mormon, President and CEO of the Evangelical Environmental Network. With a PhD in Earth and Atmospheric Sciences from Georgia Tech and her role on the board of the National Association of Evangelicals, Dr. Mormon is here to share her insights on the intersection of science, faith, and inclusivity, as well as the role of interdisciplinary approaches in fostering climate advocacy and diversity in science. Dr. Mormon, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So we've recently seen an explosion in interdisciplinary science, this cross disciplines, that students are wanting to go into. So how do you think this is helping fuel the movement of inclusive science?
Yeah, I think it's had a big impact on fueling inclusive science. As we look at interdisciplinary work, we really gain an appreciation for how complex not only our Earth system is, but also how our human systems, the biosphere, everything works together. We bring all elements of ourselves into that work. And so in truly answering interdisciplinary questions, we've got to bring in more voices, more ways of knowing, and that has absolutely fueled the inclusive science movement.
Absolutely. As somebody who, when I got into geoscience, I was like, there's no way of studying one thing without trying to understand the other. I worked on biogeochemistry because there was no way of isolating one system in the natural world. So I just think, the interdisciplinary movement is so important and kind of, should have been like that all along, I feel like. Faith communities are increasingly taking leadership roles in climate advocacy. So what are ways that you are impacting this, and why do you think it's so important?
Yeah, our faith communities really are on the front lines and have been incredible leaders when it comes to climate action. To see climate action really take root, what social science tells us is that we've got to make it personal, local, and the urgency of now. And with our faith communities who are dedicated to serving our communities, the most vulnerable, who we know climate hits first and worst, they're already serving them in so many capacities, have incredible levels of trust as well. And so our faith communities are such important interfaces with not only making sure that the climate action we need to see reaches the people who need it most, but also in lifting our voice for and advocating for solutions that we don't have yet through policy change. And I have to give a shout out to Katharine Hayhoe. I think she's really been leading the charge in showing how you can integrate those two things, but so many others amazing scientists of faith as well as scientists of non-faith, but recognize the importance of our faith communities, the spiritual aspect of things. And so I think this is making for a stronger and more diverse science community by making faith and spirituality a more welcome discussion point.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Mormon, for coming on.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.
The mission of Climate Smart Lab is really to develop sustainable and climate resilient solutions for local communities so that they can have all the necessary solutions and tools to adapt to the changing climate.
As a nation and as a country and as a province, we need to take climate change very seriously. So getting ready for those changes that are coming. The Climate Smart Lab plays a role in this, and that we have been working on climate change adaptation measures, and I am hoping that our work will be able to provide solutions to communities and be able to inform kind of public policy to make good decisions going forward.
We really need to turn the symbolic declaration of climate emergency into real actions. This is really the role our Climate Smart Lab is playing, and we hope to work with communities to take adaptive and sustainable actions to build a more climate smart future for the next generation and also many generations to come.
I am joined by Deja Elam, an accomplished scientist and environmentalist specializing in geographic information systems and remote sensing. With a rich academic background from Tuskegee University and her ongoing PhD studies in atmospheric science at Howard University, she brings a unique perspective to the intersection of environmental science, advocacy, and inclusivity. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on. We've recently seen an explosion in interdisciplinary science, and with your rich background in interdisciplinary environmental science, research, and communication, how do you think this is fueling the future of inclusive science?
I think it's fueling it by bringing more of an environment of more people into this field. I come from Detroit, Michigan, where STEM education is not the strongest in our public school system. And I think one of my goals is to implement GIS and remote sensing and overall just environmental science more in the K through 12 education, sector, so that we can bring more of the next generation into this field.
And scientists used to feel hesitant to bring up their personal beliefs with regards to science, specifically today, climate and environmental science. So what do you think has changed?
That's a great question. I think people just have more openness, really, I believe, with social media and just, the next generation of people are more open to discussing more personal issues and try to, integrate that with science. I think this is just a new generation of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And how do you think this shift is affecting other areas of inclusive science?
I think we're seeing more, more representation. We're seeing more people from different backgrounds, from different institutions, even people who did not come from academic backgrounds are participating in science and actually bringing value in different ways that are non-traditional in a sense. I think that brings a lot of value into the science realm.
Yeah, absolutely. And surrounding the conversation of inclusivity in science, there's also a little bit of negativity or controversy as DEI has become a lightning rod in culture wars. And so how do you think this is damaging to science and kind of furthering inclusivity in science?
I believe it's damaging because even now it's still a very niche group of people that are deep in science. And that's even with the, small emergence of DE&I initiatives. And so now that it's, up in not really up in the air, but it's in danger of how much inclusivity is permissible. I think it might hinder some more people coming into this field. It might hinder some more opportunities, especially with the K through 12 education sector and then going into universities. So I think it might hinder furthermore more diverse mindsets and opinions into science.
And what are some ways that your work is combating these controversies surrounding DEI?
Well, a small thing that I do, I'm also the founder of the Earthly Advocate, which our goal is to bring GIS remote sensing education to the communities, not only just K through 12 like school systems, but also within the community, hands-on doing workshops and paying people essentially for their time and learning this field. So one thing that I'm doing is actually, I guess, grassroots on the ground, doing workshops, actually going through like environmental justice screening tools, teaching people who don't really have a background in this field what it is, how it's affecting your community, and what you can do to help mitigate it. That's just one thing that I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to accomplish more and more.
That's amazing. And as one of AGU's voices for science, how has that program helped you use your voice to shape the future of environmental science?
I love this program because it has helped me get more in contact with more of a community of people that's trying to do the same thing and really of different backgrounds, so we can kind of bounce ideas and support off of each other. We have weekly meetings where we just talk about our issues and pain points and like ideas and how we can all support each other. So I think it's a great initiative that AGU has done. And I'm just excited to see what the future of it is.
Absolutely. And you're making such an impact in that and in other realms.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming on today and sharing this insight.
Thank you.
Carbon dioxide removal is not a substitute for steep emissions cuts, but it's now required for meeting global and national net zero carbon dioxide emissions targets. So it's an important tool for mitigating the worst climate impacts.
Our approach is simple. As the largest funder in the space, we are supporting the world's best scientists to test ocean alkalinity enhancements viability as a climate solution focused on safety, effectiveness, and measurability. And as a trusted field builder in this space, we're bringing together government, academia, and industry for a responsible path forward. We have spent and committed more than $40 million to do this in the most responsible manner possible.
I am joined by Dr. Maggie Xenopoulos, a globally recognized leader in aquatic ecology and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and accessibility in science. As the editor-in-chief of JGR Biogeosciences and a Tier 1 Canada Research Chair at Trent University, she is at the forefront of advancing inclusive policies and shaping the future of biogeosciences. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We've recently seen an explosion of interdisciplinary science. So how do you think this is helping fuel the future of inclusive science?
Having interdisciplinary science and having diverse voices is good for stronger science, for better publications, including those who are less resourced in publications will make anything better. So I'm really happy to see that we are leading the way. We are now requiring researchers to have a transparent statement about how they're including those who are from less resourced countries, and that will make our science stronger.
Scientists used to feel hesitant to share their personal beliefs when it came to discussions around science and climate and policy. What do you think has changed with this?
Well, I think we need to hear all the perspectives to be able to go forward. Otherwise, if we don't have an open mind, we're not going to see the changes that we need to see.
So recently DEI has become somewhat controversial. And so what ways do you think this is damaging science, and how can we combat it?
Well, I'm not actually in the US, and so from the Canadian perspective, we don't call it DEI, we call it EDI, so we emphasize equity before diversity. And one way to move forward is to recognize that scientists experience these barriers and to give them the opportunity to participate in an equitable way, similar to those who are more privileged to participate in the world of science. And I like that perspective. I like emphasizing equity more than diversity, and maybe that'll help a little bit with the more political side of things for DEI.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on and sharing this insight.
Thank you so much for having me.
ASF was established in 1991 by NASA and Jet Propulsion Laboratory to be a downlink facility and processing facility for synthetic aperture radar. And so we were established here in Fairbanks at the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus to work with the university in providing that data to the science community. The ASF ground station is really composed of two parts. We have the NASA ground station, which has 4 large NASA antenna systems. In contrast to that, we also have university antenna systems that ASF owns to operate that same type of space communication services for private industry or academia or other government agencies. We are the archive for all NASA data, and Sentinel-1 is our largest data set now. We've got 22 petabytes of SAR data sitting in the cloud in Amazon Web Services cloud. And many people, teachers, students, all kinds of folks are getting access to SAR data now, but it's still very complicated, and so it's our job to make that data easy to understand, easy to search for, and easy to use.
Hi, my name is Rachel Phillips. We're here at AGU 24, and I'm going to show you guys around the exhibit hall where we get to see the latest advances in technology and science. Hey! How are you?
Good. Are we ready to go walking around?
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, okay. I saw the animatronic dinosaur. I've seen pictures of it from a different conference, and it's here.
I want to get on the
dinosaur. Let's go do that. Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I need this. I need.
But I have to go
Thank you.
Is that the Grand Canyon?
Oh my God, yeah.
Wait a minute, hang on.
Can you tell us about that?
So it's a free web app. You don't have to download anything. And it's meant for teachers, like mainly it's students. We just want like an easy tool, intuitive and user-friendly for young people to be attracted by geology. So basically this is like an interactive tool representing like the Earth as a piece of cake under your feet, right? So you can have a tilt. And what's cool about this is just like you can also move the tilt. So you can change the deep, you can change the direction, and you can move it into the model.
So this is representing like rock layers under the ground that have been tilted by geologic processes.
Wow. It reminds me of like the fault blocks in like class, where you have like the actual the wooden block models.
Thank you so much for showing us this. Oh my God, hello! You're so good! You're so cute and fluffy! Oh, look at the fossils.
Sorry.
Do you want any fossil poop?
No.
Does this one go with my hair?
Actually, yes.
All right, well then I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the little bag.
You're all set.
Thank you so much.
You're good.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
So we're the Association for Women Geoscientists. We're an international organization. We're just kind of dedicated to enhancing the lives and livelihood of people who are minoritized because of gender in the geoscience and related fields.
When I was in grad school, our university had like a sectional AWG, and the group of women in our school that would meet every month and talk about
It's amazing.
It was
community.
so nice.
We have
to
lots of
that.
local chapters,
Yeah.
and if there's not a chapter that's local to you, you can make one, and we'll help you make one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We gotta see cognitive
Oh my gosh. I have their glass, and you have the water bottle.
I know.
And
I'm all merged out right now.
Up there. This is for when you forget Valentine's.
That's incredible. Okay, I have to get these now.
Okay.
I'll send you a Christmas card. You can send me your address.
I'll send you a Christmas card too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello.
Can you tell us about what's going on here? This looks so amazing.
It's amazing. So I am Noor Rawafi, the project scientist for Parker Solar Probe. Parker Solar Probe is the NASA mission that will be touching the sun on Christmas Eve of this year. Parker Solar Probe will be the closest human-made object ever to a star. This is a huge, huge thing for scientists, for everybody out there, for all humanity.
By 2050, over 140 million people could be displaced due to rising sea levels. It's imperative that we understand these changes in the polar regions and the impact that they could have on the rest of the world.
We have land ice in Greenland and in Antarctica, and when that ice is melting, it directly contributes to rising sea levels.
We have really severe storms combined with sea level rise, and we've seen that around our planet already.
Having sea ice in our polar regions is really important because it helps to cool the rest of the planet.
It regulates heat, it regulates ocean circulation, not just in the Arctic, but across the globe.
Today, the ice melting from the polar regions is tracking not the expected climate scenario, but the worst case scenario. So we should be planning for the extreme sea level rise at the upper end of climate model predictions.
CBOM is a nationwide partnership between 6 universities working with the British Antarctic Survey. The original vision remains true today. The questions have changed to a degree because of what we've learned, but it still remains. The only way forwards in the poles is combining these broad, large area measurements from primarily satellites with models as a way of understanding what the likely future will be.
It's also important that we work together to tackle the problems that are causing ice on our planet to melt, and because they're global, and it relies on people in all different countries believing the same message and figuring out the same way to cope.
For this episode of AGU TV. If you missed anything or want to revisit today's content, there are plenty of ways for you to do so.
You can catch the latest episode of AGU TV at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, in your hotel room at the Marriott Marquis DC on channel 42, on the AGU 24 meeting website, on the AGU 24 mobile app, and of course on all our social media platforms. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of our geophysical content.
That's a wrap for this episode of AGU TV, where we've explored how inclusivity is transforming the future of science. But the future of science isn't just about data. It's also about creativity. Join us tomorrow for our last episode of AGU TV as we dive into the intersection of art and science to discover how creativity is shaping the way we understand and communicate the geological sciences. See you there.